Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Be in the Know. For those of you who are returning participants, I'm glad that you're back. I haven't seen you in a while. For those who maybe it's your first time, welcome. We are so glad to have you to be with organizational effectiveness with Be in the Know. We have an exciting, a special edition for our audience today, and I'm glad to be a part of this. It is Women's History Month. It's actually the culmination of Women's History Month, and we're going to be honoring the contributions of women today. So I just have a few housekeeping rules, if you will, to share with you before we get started. I'm going to ask everyone, if you would, please mute your microphones. That way, when our presenters are up, they will not have distorted sounds and we will be able to give them our undivided attention. Also, I'm going to let you know if you have any questions, you may send those via our chat. Bergie Chafin is on the line this morning, ready to receive those questions. So at the appointed time, you'll be able to ask those questions. If during our question and answer period, you have questions that you want to voice yourself, certainly you may unmute your mics and or raise your hand within the feature of the chat box section. Want you to be able to enjoy yourselves. And again, it's all about women. So first of all, let's give the women a round of applause on our yay. There we go. We want you to sit back, enjoy what our Director of Culture and Change Management and her team has put together for you today. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. We've got some rocking women who are going to be featured today. And so I'd like to introduce to you, um, Kristen, if you can advance to the next slide. This is how we're going to roll this morning. We're going to have Stacy McMurray again, our Director of Change Management, Culture and Change Management, come to us, and she's going to facilitate somewhat. She's going to take us through a nice video presentation, and then she's going to introduce the rest of our segments. And I don't want to give it away because they worked very hard, very diligently for this. But I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Sit back, relax. Stacy, take it away.
Great. Thank you so much, Vernice. Appreciate that. Next slide, please. And next slide. Great. So our strategic plan, it's a roadmap. It helps us align around our priorities and goals. So you'll see we've got some strategic goal areas as well as our core values there. And so our goal areas support our vision and our mission, and the culture we envision at BSD Development integrates diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is a core value, one of 6 core values in our organization. We have developed a culture statement that reads, "We are passionately committed to cultivating a high-performing culture that celebrates diversity, equity, and inclusion, and empowers our team members to make a difference." So celebrating and integrating diversity, equity, and inclusion into our culture involves a commitment from all of us that starts with developing our cultural competency. Next slide, please. So cultural competency is the ability to effectively interact with all people of different cultures and backgrounds. In addition to learning through self-assessment and feedback, building cultural competency can also be accomplished by engaging with and participating in observances. Next slide, please. So cultural observances, they recognize achievements, they increase understanding, awareness, and mutual respect of all Americans. A list of events we'd like to observe and recognize at BSD Development are shown here. We had a very successful Black History Month virtual event last month, and it looks like we've got some great attendance for this special event today. We've been sharing with you throughout the month the origin, background, and significance of Women's History Month. And this brings us to our special edition of Be in the Know today. The observance we'll celebrate this morning is Women's History Month. Before introducing Our surprise, I'd like to introduce the TEDx video we'll be showing today, Remember the Ladies by Emily Krishbaum. Kristen will share the video.
In the early 1780s, Massachusetts created their first state constitution. Now, this constitution was created just years after the Declaration of Independence, and you can tell because it was inspired by it. In fact, in the first words that you'll read, all men are born free and equal. Now, at this time, it was the tradition. The way that you got this information out, this legislation, these laws, is that you would read it in the town square. When it was read in the town square one day, there's an enslaved woman by the name of Mum Bet who's walking through that town square. And in her enslaved state, she hears these words that everyone in Massachusetts is born free and equal. She's confused, obviously. But instead of living with said confusion, she takes it to court. She took her slaveholder, John Ashley, to court, sued for her freedom, and her lawyer argued that she should be free because the institution itself is unconstitutional in the state of Massachusetts. And she wins. Now, does this story matter? It might not if young girls don't hear about it. Currently, less than 10% of the history that's taught in American history classrooms is about women. Now, there are two interesting things about this. One, of the women that are required to be taught in the classroom, two of them are Molly Pitcher and Rosie the Riveter. They weren't even real human beings. They were made up. They were fictional. Now, of course, they're symbolic from women that did exist during that time, but it begs the question, then why not speak about the actual women? Also, of that 10%, almost 60% of that 10% talks about women in the role of the helpmate, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the home, helping out the husband. And of course, women made homes, but they also made history. As we know, stories matter. They're incredibly important. We share them with loved ones, we laugh about them, they inspire us, and they provide meaning in our lives. Now, there's this whole body of research that suggests that if you're not a part of the information that you consume, whether it's what you watch or what you read in the classroom, it suggests that you're not as important. You consider yourself not as important or capable or competent. Currently, it takes a woman to hear about 6 times, you should run for political office, before she starts to think, I should run for political office. Less women negotiate salaries, and even less women will apply for a job if they don't believe that they have 100% of the qualifications. Maybe if young girls start to see themselves in the pages of yesterday, they'll believe in their capacity for all of their tomorrows. I started a nonprofit called Remember the Ladies. And one of the things that we focus on doing is positioning teachers and school districts to incorporate more women's history into American history classrooms, because you cannot be what you cannot see. And I think it's important for young girls and young boys to see the capacity of women. Now, we do this by supplementing textbooks and supplementing current lesson plans, because this isn't about rewriting history. Instead, it's about expanding the lens, the director's cut, if you will. Because while Megan Rapinoe and Serena Williams and Ruth Bader Ginsburg are incredibly inspiring and extraordinary humans, what young girls need to realize is that this has always been their lineage. This is nothing new, and it will always be their legacy. In spring of 1776, John Adams Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson are in Philadelphia. They're talking about declaring independence from that of Great Britain. And they're not simply talking about separating from Great Britain, but instead they are suggesting that we should declare our independence because we believe in this set of principles, that all men are created equal and have certain inalienable rights. And some of those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That regardless of your bloodline, regardless of who your parents were, regardless of where you were born into the society, that you are indeed equal. They were figuring out the language that they wanted to use and how they were going to get that done. Meanwhile, John Adams' wife is in Massachusetts holding down the farm with 4 children and keeping the smallpox epidemic at bay, and trying to feed those children through the winter while the British have blocked the ports in Boston. So the only food that they have is what they grew from the summer before, trying to avoid battles and any abuse that the British might provide. And so Abigail had her 2 cents for her husband as he suggested that they were writing this declaration. She said, in this extraordinary code of laws, I ask that you remember the ladies, and I ask that you do the same. Thank you.
Let's talk about Grammarly. Anytime you type or text.
Great, thank you so much, Kristen. Again, a powerful video from Emily Kirschbaum, Remember the Ladies. Know that that was a little bit hard to hear for some. We have the link and you have we'll make sure we'll get that link to you. Of course, you can also check that out yourself. So in our role of remembering the ladies, we now have a coming upon our very special segment of our program. And now I'd like to introduce you to Maureen Williams, Senior Consumer Engagement Planner in our Marketing and Communication Department. Maureen will host our impressive panel of women leaders right here at BSD who are making history.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to recognize the contributions of 4 wonderful women that we have the privilege of calling our team members here at BSD. As such, we benefit every day from their contributions, and we are just honored to recognize them in the persons of Bridget Moore, Bernadette Marion, Regina Alphen, and Nicole Robb. As I stated, these women are very talented and they bring a very unique skill set to BSD. And today we just want to highlight a few. Our first panelist, Bridget Moore's career started at the Metro store, where she maintained inventory and provided fair sales to our customers. She is currently serving as our lead transit information operator, and she's been doing that role since August of 2000. Can I get you to help me celebrate Bridget for her contributions to BSD? Our next panelist is Bernadette Marion. And Bernadette is responsible for providing analytical content that provides BSD with insight in order to plan transit services and policy development, to name a few.
This is not just
Bernadette.
What? Are you joking me?
Also,
it's Mountain of Comedy Entertainment. Hey. Paramount Plus, now streaming.
We needed that. You all were too rigid. We needed that.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that was for free. Again, I'll go back. Our next panelist is Bernadette Marion. Bernadette is responsible for providing analytical content that provides BSD with the insight and fortitude in order to plan our transit services and policy development. Bernadette is also responsible for performance reporting. And in case you didn't know, our performance reporting affects the dollars that are released to our transit system. And so we can all attest to that being a very important role. Will you help me celebrate Bernadette for her contributions to BSD? Our next candidate, Regina Alphin. Regina's responsibilities includes managing and maintaining our MetroLink substation. Specifically, she's responsible for the maintenance, troubleshooting, and calibrations at our substations. This work feeds directly into the power that is provided to our light rail system in order to take our customers to and fro on a day-to-day basis. We can boast that we have one of few female electricians today serving as a panelist here for this event. Help me celebrate Regina. Our final panelist today is Nicole Robb. I can say in my lifetime, I've never met a female captain of the ship. And guess what? We have her right here at Metro, our very first captain of our riverboats, Nicole Robb. I bet most of you did not know that a woman was at the helm of the riverboats. Well, today you learned that we have a female captain of riverboats. In fact, for the first time in our history, Metro has a female riverboat captain. However, while she is new and somewhat of a stranger to us, she is no stranger to being the captain. She can boast of serving as captain in the United States and abroad. Will you help me celebrate Captain Nicole Robb? Again, thank you so much, ladies, for consenting and agreeing to not only serve as panelists, but to be recognized for your unique skill set that you bring to our organization. I want to pose 2 questions to our panelists today. Each of them will have an opportunity to give their answer. And the 2 questions that I want to raise today, I'll give both questions and then I'll go back and repeat question number 1. And I'm asking that Bridget be prepared to respond to question number 1. Both questions are as follows. Tell us about a critical moment in your career here at BSD, question 1. Question 2 is, what advice would you share with young women or perhaps with your younger self in order to be successful in the workplace? Again, I'll start with Bridget, and I'm only asking that you initially answer the first question and we'll come back around. Question 1, to tell us about a critical moment in your career here at BSD.
Good afternoon or morning to everyone. I'd like to thank you for an opportunity to be a part of this panel. I will tell you I'm nervous, so I might fumble a little. I would just like to say, having been at Metro for over 20 years, there are a lot of ups and downs and ebbs and flows in a career. And there have been times when personal things have, what's the word I want to use? I've been through a lot, basically. So the thing that was a big turning point for me was after struggling, truthfully, I was given an opportunity to work on myself and improve myself and to become lead operator. And in becoming lead operator for a second time, I was given an opportunity to elevate the position to learn more, to work with our team more, to work with management, to be connected with other departments, and to be a better resource to our customers. So that was my moment.
Thank you, Bridget.
Okay.
The same question for Bernadette, and I'll repeat it. Tell us about a critical moment in your career here at BSD.
Hi, thank you so much, and thank you, Bridget. Bridget and I are actually in the same division, but we certainly don't get to chat enough, and I'd love to hear about your experiences. Thank you. And thank you to the organizers for inviting me to the panel. So I don't know if everybody got to read the biography that Maureen had helped punched up. She made me sound like an intrepid adventurer. I really liked that, but the reason being because as I was growing up, I lived everywhere and nowhere. We were pretty much nomads. I'm a military kid, Navy kid. And so I've always had a romantic view of the city, and I committed to myself with working with urban systems, working in that arena. And so I came here already. I came in 2011 with experience, with skills, passion, interest, and yet it wasn't enough. That's not enough alone. It's not enough to sustain your career for the long haul. So the critical moment is not necessarily an aha moment. The critical moment I want to speak to is how I stumbled into a mentor-mentee relationship. I say stumbled because I certainly wasn't savvy enough to, at the time, proactively seek it out, but with shared mutual trust in investment together, I found that there was a lot of support there. And when I looked around, I was like, wow, I've actually been building support with peer networks across divisions, across roles, across positions, men and women alike. And when I recognized the value of that support network, and I couldn't help but feel gratitude. And I don't know when that happened. I don't know when the aha happened, but I know it did. But that was a critical moment when I was like, I'm in it. And so that's the experience I wanted to share with you today. And I'll pass it on to the next panelist.
Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'll call on our next panelist, Regina Alphen. Tell us about a critical time in your career here at BSD.
Okay. Hello, I'm Regina Alphen, and I've been here this June will be 20 years. Woo, that's a long time. And I would say in 2008 was a critical moment for me. I was going to one of my substations, IL4, which would be the 29th Street in East St. Louis Yard. And just normal. It was about 6:45 a.m. I started at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I reached the substation before my partner. And I pulled up in my service truck, and I get out, I'm going in, and I see an extension cord coming out the door. Now, mind you, I worked there yesterday. This was not there, okay? And it doesn't supposed to be. And let me go back. The climate was kind of like it was yesterday. It wasn't a hard rain. It was a little bit more than a misty rain. So it's wet and it's raining out. And I see this extension cord coming out the door, going to the back of the substation, back in. So I follow the cord, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is Jimmy Reed, okay? Who does this? So I walked to the back door, and I reached to open the door, but I did not touch the handle. And I was like, nah, I better wait for my partner because I want to see this exactly how I see it. So I walk away, I turn around, walk away. I'm going in, and then I thought about my coffee I had in my service vehicle. So I walked to my service vehicle to get my coffee, and I'm gonna go inside and just wait and then see where is this extension cord coming from. As I open my service truck door and I reach in for my coffee, it blew. The substation, like, boom. Okay, that back door that the extension cord was going into blew open. And it was such an impact. It was so intense that as I was reaching in my service vehicle for my coffee, it actually blew me into the truck. And as it blew me into the truck, I can feel it in my chest. I climbed into the truck. This is not normal. This is crazy. So I'm thinking actually that an overhead service from Ameren had blew up. And I'm thinking the wires will fall into my vehicle, is what I'm thinking. So I'm inside the truck and I'm ducking down inside. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting my vehicle. And I was like, Lord, don't let this wire be on my vehicle, because now it electrifies the truck. So I'm saying, I'm dead. This is what I'm thinking, right? And so I kind of peek up from where I was bent over, and I can see that this did not happen. So now I don't know what's going on. So I just, hey, get up, put my truck in reverse, and I bag up across the yard, across the tracks. And I get my radio and I call into central emergency. The substation blew up and my voice is shaking. You know, I'm scared to death. I'm crying. I know I'm crying because there's no way I was not. Okay. And they say, hey, what's going on? I said, the substation blew up. And they say, what? I said, the substation blew up. And by this time, all the mechanics inside the garage come running out to the truck and ask me what's going on. And I'm trying to stay calm. I'm a little bit hysterical. I'm saying, I don't know what happened. The sub blew up and, you know, people come and all this and managers and things come. And the after effect was that back door had blew. And they have video. And this happened in May of 2008. They have video of it. I have never seen it. I kind of want to see it, but I'm a little hesitant. But it was 22 seconds between me at that back door and me getting to my truck. So just imagine if I would have been at the door, even opened the door, and it came from the moisture from the rain actually getting inside. And with the bus work, and it was a handle, and this all happened from Ameren having a gauge inside there to gauge the power that we're receiving. So it blew, and the impact blew a ball of fire across the yard alignment going to the main alignment. So imagine if I was there. Well, we wouldn't be having this conversation, that's for sure. And they'll be finding little bits and pieces of Regina all over the 29th Street yard. Matter of fact, we would have to rename it Regina's yard, okay? Because I would have been sprayed all over that yard. And the inside actually blew open a cabinet door on the inside that I would have had to pass by when I walked into the sub also, which blew, and it had an outline of the prints that we have hanging in there, the diagrams of the substation. Didn't harm the paper. This is how bizarre this is. Didn't harm the paper, but the outline of the paper is on the wall and you can't even clean that off. So just imagine me if I would have walked there and the impact from it. I've been splattered everywhere. So I'm saying this is critical because every time I pull up to this substation, and I still do work there, I think about it momentarily. It's not as, I don't go into deep thought like I used to, you know, because I used to actually kind of shake a little bit there, you know, get a little nervous with that. But now it's a passing thought, but I do think about it, and I think about it always because you cannot be careful enough. It's a dangerous job, but I will tell you, I do love my job and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And, you know, just strangers, if they see me out there working, because I'm in hard hat, sometimes a scarf, boots, jeans, looking like one of the guys. But what I do to distinguish myself between the guys, I make sure Regina have on her smell good. I smell like a lady. I may not look like a lady at the time, but I am most definitely smelling like a lady. So when I walk past, you be like, don't no guy smell like that. So that is one of my critical moments, which I have others, but that's the main one there.
Wow. 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 Thank you for sharing that. And it's very obvious to me, and I'm sure everyone else, even after all of this time, those details, as you shared them with us, are very clear and you still have a vivid remembrance of that day. And I'll just take a moment here and plug our safety department and the importance of completing all of these modules that they've laid out for us. This is a day-to-day for Regina, but any one of us could very well have to know what to do in a situation like that. So again, we are thankful that Regina's training and her common sense kicked in, and we're just thankful for that. So thank you for sharing. Our last panelist, I'll pose the same question to her, and that is, tell us, Nicole, about a critical moment during your time here at BSD. And I want to give a disclaimer before she speaks. She's a baby here. She's only been working as our captain for about 1 month. So we're not expecting, any I caught a shark stories and drug it onto the ship. We're just looking for what has been maybe your most impactful critical moment since being here at BSD.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Maureen, for the introduction. And thank goodness Regina's still here with us. That was an epic story. So I'm glad you are healthy and safe for sure. And I would say my critical moment was last week. I caught a shark and I drug it on board. Not really. That's not my critical moment. That was just for Maureen. While I am new here, I'm already seeing the same thing here on these vessels that I see on every vessel that I'm the captain of. And that is every single day, every cruise, I see surprise in the faces of the guests to see a female captain. And I think that is, well, it's shocking for one, it's 2021. And I think that's just shocking that I experience it. Surprising face. But I think it's really a critical moment every day for them to see and experience female leadership up in person and close, and to see the responsibility of such a large piece of machinery, such as a vessel, and hundreds of lives every day, and to have that experience with safety and fun entertainment, which is what we do here. We blend all those things together. So I love breaking down the boundaries that people have, the preconceived notion that it's always going to be a male captain. So for them to have those boundaries broken down, walk away, have a good time, be safe and happy, I think that's important for all generations, females, and so I'm very, very grateful to have that opportunity daily, every single cruise.
Thank you for sharing that, Nicole. Thank you very much. I'll go right into the second question. And again, we'll start with Bridget. And the second question is, what advice would you give younger women or your younger self to be successful in the workplace? Bridget?
Thank you again, Maureen. I would say, well, we asked the question, I said to trust yourself. And I mean, trust yourself completely. When you're given a job, the information that you're given, step up into the responsibilities that are offered to you. A lot of times we're offered different opportunities to do things, to learn things, and sometimes we don't do them if they're not mandatory. But I think you should step up and step into those opportunities and take advantage of those things, because you never know where they're going to lead you in your career, whether it's with this company or another company, and what it brings to the team. So that would be the biggest thing, trusting your instincts and then taking advantage of everything that's offered to you, participating in everything that's offered.
Thank you, Bridget. Very good advice. So there you have it from Bridget. Trust yourself and take advantage of every opportunity offered. Thank you very much. Bernadette, what advice would you give younger women or your younger self to be successful in the workplace?
Well, I don't know, maybe think twice before being that person getting the nerd trapped in a cubicle, because the other panelists here sound like they have exciting jobs. I've got some envy here. In a previous life, I was going to be an academic in a university setting, teaching research, and I had made a lot of accomplishments and strides towards that goal. I like that part of this movement to enhance the organizational culture here at Metro is to have an open and honest dialogue. It's quite parallel with what Bridget was saying about trust yourself, but an open and honest dialogue. I think I would give my younger self or others in a mentor-mentee relationship, should I want to return the favor in that support network, I would say maybe be open and honest with yourself. As I was moving towards that goal, that university position, I was told you're likely that you're going to have to live in a small town. Hey, wait a minute, I'm the nomad. I want to live in a big city. I love cities that welcome you with open arms. And then I was also told the teaching structure had changed at that time. It was a bit paralyzing. They record you. Again, the irony here is that we've spent a year on video, but I had missed the intimacy of teaching with in a classroom setting, like the intimacy between you and your class. And then I was also told, if you would like to make tenure, you can't do anything critical in your life. Like, you're only going to work on tenure, which, at the time I was in my early 30s, and that was code for a lot of different life events that many of us have, like getting married, like having children. Again, it's ironic because 15, 20 years later, I have neither of those things. But in any case, like, I was told that was part of succeeding in this chosen profession in urban transportation, and I did enjoy it. I do wish that I had had more honest and open dialogue with myself earlier. I mean, I'm where I want to be now. I'm working on an applied research. It's a hell of a lot less lonely. Like I said, which is fabulous, because that is actually, maybe that was the nail in the coffin for me in terms of my academic career. But I would give the advice to maybe just check in with yourself as often as you can. I don't think I was necessarily lying to myself, but maybe on my path towards trying to succeed at my career, I didn't really ask myself what I wanted from life. So that would be my advice. And I would say a good mentor who's an active listener and brutally honest, of which my primary mentor was, I think could help with that type of dialogue. So thank you so much. And Regina, I pass this to you.
Thank you, Bernadette. So there you have it, hot off the press. Bridget said, be open and honest with yourself. I'm sorry, Bridget said, trust yourself. And Bernadette said, be open and honest with yourself and check in with yourself and identify a mentor. What great advice, regardless of your age or gender. Next, we will have Regina. what advice would you give a younger woman or your younger self to be successful in her career?
Wow. I guess it would pretty much sound cliche, but it's really is keep positive, you know, forward progress. If you stay on track and think out of the box, you know, just know yourself. Once you know yourself and be comfortable with yourself, you know, you can do anything and no one would change you. And I would say, know your worth. I always tell young girls, my daughter, anyone that I come in contact with, just know your worth and accept nothing less. You know, that's all you have to do. And do not listen to the critics or anyone that says, you can't do that. That's what men do. Because all my life, and I grew up with 4 brothers, no sisters. So, you know, so you know the route I was going. I was by nature a tomboy, you know. But I was always told, hey, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. But it always turned out positive for me. So do not let anyone get you off the road that you're meant to travel. You are meant to travel that road. If you can think it and it comes to you, then you can do it for sure. Because if not, you wouldn't think it. So you can do it. I always tell them just stay the course.
Great advice. Wow. This is advice we, would pay for possibly in counseling or something. So we are grateful. So we have trust yourself from Bridget. We have be open and honest with yourself and check in with yourself and identify a mentor from Bernadette. And now we hear Regina say, keep positive forward progress. Know your worth and do not listen to those who say you cannot, because if you can think it, you can do it. All right, and now we have our last panelist, the captain of the vessel. Thank you for giving me the right vernacular. That's a vessel, it's not a boat. Can you tell us what advice you would give a younger woman or your younger self to be successful in her career?
Yes, absolutely. And I love all the ladies' answers. I think it just full circle encompasses and everyone can take something away from that. I would say I have many, but my top 3, and I'll give examples, but my top 3, first one, listen to yourself and your crazy ideas and follow them wherever they go. They might not fit into the plan you had, but you know what, plans don't always work out. So you have to go with the flow. And for example, aerial acrobat stunt person, and I said, hey, and it turns out I fell in love with that industry and wanted to be the captain of that pirate ship. So that's how that all started, and never would have started had I, just followed a plan I already had, because I never saw that in my possibility. Don't tell people what you're going to do, but show them. Sometimes we can paint a picture and say, oh, one day I'll do this, one day I'll do that, but you release a lot of energy when you do that. So instead, I suggest chipping away, taking one step at a time and getting there, having patience, and achievement and that dream. And it's okay to show some people along the way, but like Regina said, there's a lot of naysayers out there and those criticisms can beat you down sometimes. And that's my last point, is there are so many criticizers out there, but don't listen to them, and especially don't listen to your own worst critic. I can be my own worst critic. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself, have patience with yourself, and let go of all the negative words and the doubts and just keep pushing forward, because no one's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Nicole. My time has come to an end. I know we're all sad about that, but we have a great person who will take us further. And so this is what I want to leave you with. Trust yourself. Be open and honest with yourself. Check in with yourself and identify a mentor. Keep positive forward progress and know your worth. And do not listen to those who say you cannot. And if you think you can do it. And finally, listen to your crazy ideas. Do more showing and less telling. Be kind and patient, and release all negative energy, including negative words, negative people. And I thank you for this opportunity, Stacy. And now I will turn it over to Kristen, who will take us forward with our attendance prizes. Thank you, ladies. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you to all the panelists who served this morning. If I can get everyone really quickly just to come off mute and give them a round of applause, because they did an excellent job. A lot of them were so nervous to do this, but we thank you so much for all you do for BSD, for everyone, and especially all of the women as we honor you this month for History Month. And I have the pleasure of doing the attendance prize that I know everyone looks forward to doing every Being the No call. And this one is special because we will have, there's a special book, and this one was chosen from Chuck. So I have to pull it up again. The name of this book is Groundbreakers, Rule Breakers, and Rebels, 50 Unstoppable St. Louis Women. And we have 2 copies of this book. So the winners of the drawing have the opportunity to get those books. So give me 1 second, I'll pull up my wheel and we will go ahead and do the drawing. All right, can everyone see my wheel? Everybody see the wheel?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, big wheel.
Big wheel, this is a huge wheel.
Big prizes.
And it's spinning fast, real fast, if you all don't see it. All right, so our first winner as it comes to an end. All right. And then the next one. Let's see. All right. All right, thank you so much. I'm going to turn this back over to Vernice, and we will conclude our presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Well, to the audience this afternoon, did I tell you that we were going to have a good time? What a wonderful way to spend time this afternoon celebrating 4 phenomenal women of bi-state development. We didn't have to go across town or across state or across country to find people who are dedicated to what they do, who are doing remarkable work for the agency, but who can also inspire as they're doing what they do. I think it's very important. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was just smiling from ear to ear because I love stepping into another person's story. That's really how we get to know each other. And by virtue, that's how we get to break down those barriers of what we don't know or what we don't understand. So thank you, women, for what you not only do for our agency, but who you are as women. I thought it was very interesting. I want to give a shout out to all of our gentlemen who were on the line today supporting us as we supported each other. Can we give them a hand? I think that's a wonderful thing. So,
Allies.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I just want to thank the panelists for being with us today and for our organizer, Stacy, and the team for putting this together. It's a good way to celebrate phenomenal women. But this is what I want to say to every woman who's on video today, virtual meeting today, is that you are phenomenal. Whatever you do for the agency, whatever you do as a woman, we make it happen every day. And I want to give a shout out to you. You will truly are phenomenal women. Don't forget that as you go about your time, as you go about your day, take those words of inspiration that Maureen captured and then fed back to us as we go. We're going to wrap up our meeting today until we meet again. April the 9th, we're going to be talking about compensation, not so romantic, not so much Philly, but very much so important. It's because it's all about you when it comes to compensation and what we're doing throughout the agency. So join us again on April the 9th, and we'll see you the next time. And goodbye, be safe, be well. Don't forget the social distancing, and keep yourselves covered. Talk to you soon.